need to control, that you need to keep in mind when you're the chief risk officer or when you're rolling into the job and taking care of the job. The full content of what I'm going to show you is in the link down below in the show notes. All the information is in there. You can open it up, search, filter, browse through it. It's all in there. First, let's have a quick look at what a chief risk officer actually does, what the main role should be. Critical capability, the main capability of a chief risk officer is that you need to verify that your organization strategy and your strategy maintains the business risk control and assessment process across your organization through coordination and oversight of your organization's enterprise risk management, governance, risk and compliance programs, its software solutions that you utilize for risk management purposes. Now, there's a lot you need to take care of there. You need to handle, for instance, the conflict between acting as a chief risk officer, and what we see a lot is that the chief risk officer is also the head of internal audit. So handle that conflict, and by doing that, you need to get those risk management practices living and breathing daily in the business decisions, which is often the hardest thing to do. So you got to know if your risk management program is working effectively by using that software and by figuring out what you need to be doing. And that's what this knowledge graph, and I'll pull it up here quickly so you can have a look what this knowledge graph is for. That'll help you, show you what to figure out what needs to be done, what you need to be covering. You need to measure the return on investment, the ROI, in your risk management program. Ensure that risk management expectations are followed throughout the organization, the expectations of your role and expectations that risk management has in your organization. Leverage your investments in risk management, internal control, and data management and analysis to figure out where you need to invest into that. Communicate risk management to your organization. Be confident of your risk management practices. While you do that, that's obviously a given, a must that you need to take care of that, and build a business case for improved risk management through that. Also focus on the fact that a lot of organizations, or a lot of people in organizations, that workers are focusing on cyber risk from a cyber perspective. Well, that's not the only risk, obviously, as you know, that we need to focus on, but you need to be aware of that. Firstly, let's have a quick look at what you're looking at here on the screen on the full knowledge graph. This is the knowledge graph for that a chief risk officer works with, a CRO works with. What we see here are different colored balls. Let me quickly explain what they are. The blue ones in the middle, they are the critical capabilities. So the things that you need to be doing, the things that you really need to be focusing on. And the knowledge graph, the critical capabilities, the Kanban that underpins this, has close to 2,000 critical capabilities ordered, prioritized, and there's AI underpinning that, making sure that it figures out what's the most important thing that we need to be doing and how will we be covering that. How will we be covering that? That's the blue balls. The blue balls will tell you what you actually need to be doing. The control question that you can ask in your organization are the orange balls that are around those, so they're aligned to that. And I'll open some of those up so you can see those as well. Then we have a lot of orange balls here as well around here, and those are the job roles that are related to a chief risk officer's task. So a CRO's task, job roles that you're depending on in your organization. Then you see some red balls here and there, and those are the most important questions to ask, and we'll focus on some of those as well. What this is useful for, this knowledge graph, is to have insight in all the activities that you need to be doing, all the questions that you need to be asking in your organization, and how everything is aligned, and what kind of job roles you need to have in your organization. Now, let's quickly go through it. First of all, let's have a look at the related areas you need to be focusing on when you're in the CRO role. The related areas, then comes out of the knowledge graph as well. What related areas do we need to focus on? And I'll zoom in a bit. Here are the related areas. We need to focus on regulatory technology. We need to focus on personalization, data quality services, vendor risk management, data standards, continuity disaster recovery. We need to focus on ISO standards, threat modeling. And you can see all the related areas that you need to be focusing on. When I open one of those areas up, let's take, for instance, vendor risk management. It'll show me how I can focus on that, what I can do there. I can research evolving regulatory standards regarding third-party vendor relationships in our industry and provide recommendations to the vendor management committee and CRO for program improvement. So I'll have someone do that for me. A control question I can be asking there is, does the vendor provide contract conversion support services? And I can ask that of the IT governance and risk manager. And you see, this is an important question related to this one. What were the demands from the Chief Risk Officer for ERM implementation in your department? So vendor risk management, these are the activities that you can undertake to ensure that you do these things right in your organization. So this gives you an idea of all the related areas that you need to be focusing on from a CRO perspective. Digital maturity, process controls. Let's see what's on the process controls. There's several more there. Activities that you need to be focusing on that are related to process controls and the CRO role. Now, these are obviously not prioritized. We'll just see what we're looking at here are all the activities that we need to focus on, that we need to have under control in our CRO role, enterprise risk management, for instance. So this is very helpful for me to get a bird's eye overview of, okay, I need to wrap my mind around what does this role actually entail. Poof, here it is. These are the things that I need to be thinking about. Threat modeling as well is in there. All right. Get that? Now, let's have a look at what are the processes and activities that need to be in place. That's what the prioritization comes into play, and I can show you all of them. Let's go max. There's not 9,000 whatever, but it'll show all of them, all the most important, all the or the blue balls. It shows all the blue balls. So this is all the blue balls as in the activities that need to be in place. Now, this is really helpful to figure out, okay, do we have all this? And I could go down and through them, each and every one, but that's a bit of a hard slog and a lot of work. So what my AI has done for me, it has told me these are all prioritized. So I just want to see, let's say, the top three, the three most important ones that I need to be focusing on. So what I need to be focusing on is monitor and test policies and procedures to ensure they are appropriately designed to drive compliance with regulatory obligations, complete a compliance risk assessment to support the design of program activities, and inform management of top risks and execute compliance monitoring and testing activities to ensure policies and procedures are being followed. My main task as Chief Risk Officer. And what do I need to do to make sure that that works out all right? As you can see, it's a must-have, which means it's in the must-have categories. That the critical capabilities are organized in must-have, should have, could have, those approaches. Must-have is we definitely need to have those in place. High priority here, 1212. That's one of the highest priorities related to the risk area. What is a data security compliance assessment? That's a control question I can ask there, and these are the people that I need to involve there to make sure that we have this under control, that we definitely are taking care of this one. Other two that were, let's unclick that one. The other two that came up out of the top three of activities that we need to have in place are these two. And I won't read them out loud, but you can see what's in there. I'll leave them up for a while. I have an ERM and GRC software solution. Open up that, and I'll open up that one. So then we can see, is this one open already? Now it's open. Then we can sort of see a blueprint developed for our Chief Risk Officer role. What are the main activities that we need to be taking care of? Now, these are the three main activities. These are the control questions I can be asking of these people. So the orange balls, I open those up as well. Now we have a full overview of the three most important areas that I need to focus on as a Chief Risk Officer. So the blue balls, the related areas that I'm depending on for information and to make sure the tasks are being done, and control questions I can ask of them. So the three most important areas. If I've done those, I can just go down and go, let's go 4. Let's add another one. And then we have added here this one, supported design of independent technology risk oversight program, which defines the engagement and integration with various risk management programs, including process risk self-assessments, business continuity management, new product approval, mergers and acquisitions, etc. So there's a lot you need to cover as a chief risk officer, and as you can see, the Kanban definitely helps you with that because everything's prioritized. So you just go down the list and tick it off. Like, we have that, we're doing that, we got that under control, we're managing this. That's something that we really need to focus on more than we're doing already. Let's pull that out and do something about that. So these are all the activities that need to be in place, that you need to be focusing on. Now let's have a look at the most important questions to ask as a chief risk officer or of a chief risk officer. And there are 49 most important questions to ask, and here they are. Of the chief risk officer, put the chief risk officer in the middle. These are the most important questions to ask. If you can answer all these questions, you definitely have your CRO process under control. Again, AI and machine learning created these criteria and pulled them up out of the whole pool of criteria, which are thousands and thousands, and made sure that these are the ones that are definitely important for the CRO role. Now, let's see if you agree. Let's pick, let's say, the top 10, because this is a bit overwhelming, isn't it? Let's go over the top 10. There, chief risk officer. So we got 9 because chief risk officers in there as well. How does your organization compare in risk management with others in the same industry? Important one to figure out. See if we have a risk appetite that's actually useful for our organization, or we're missing things. So you partner with key stakeholders to conduct and coordinate key management assessments to identify and score enterprise risks, identify opportunities for creating value, and prioritize risks associated with financial health, operations, and regulations. There you go. Is the chief risk officer's performance reviewed by the board or a board committee? That's how you do that. I'm not going to read them out loud. You can go to the link below and have a look at them. They're all in there. Or you can pause this video and replay. Should your organization actually have a formal chief risk officer and a risk management function to manage your day-to-day risk management processes? Yeah, this is how you figure out if you need to be doing that. What is the best way to ensure that issues are escalated to the level of the chief risk officer when appropriate? Should the risk officer be able to report directly to the board of directors, including the risk committee? Is there any information about the existence of a chief risk officer and its role in your organization specifically, but also when you're doing vendor risk management with your vendors? What is a typical day-to-day responsibility of a chief risk officer within a large organization? Applying risk criteria to invest in the development of risk profile for management approval. Are the positions of chief risk officer and chief compliance officer becoming more prominent in service companies? And if so, how are executives selected? Partner with operational risk to get that. So these are the most important questions to ask to make sure that you're doing the chief risk officer role in a pertinent way. And I hope that's useful for you. Again, if you want to have a look at the full Kanban, you can find out all the areas, all the relationships and everything in the link below. And I'll pull it up on the screen again quickly, because it just looks good, doesn't it? That's what I find. That's why we use this knowledge graph. Knowledge graph makes everything visible. It looks good. You can see the relationships between things moving on your screen and how everything is related, basically. So this is the quick overview of the Chief Risk Officer critical capabilities. What's in the Kanban, what's in the knowledge graph. Again, you can find it in the link below. Click on it, play around with it. It's all in an Airtable, so simple, accessible database. You can download them as well. Obviously, there's a purchase price for that, but it's free to play around with on the site as well. Thanks for now, and I hope you had a good time. I had a great time, and I'll see you next time.